Welcome to the Heal Your Hunger Show, where we get to the heart of why you overeat and how to stop. If you struggle with food and weight like I did, welcome home.
Yeah, so welcome to the Heal Your Hunger Show. It's a great day to be alive, and I'm super happy to be here today, and thanks for tuning in. I am filming this live from the Secret Sauce group, Secret Sauce to End Emotional Eating Now. So if you're not in there, you gotta be there. So please join me there. You'll be the first to hear what I have to say on my podcast, and also to hear what my guest speakers have to say, and also some really cool just some great offerings and conversations. And I welcome you to come go to Facebook and type in the Secret Sauce to End Emotional Eating and jump in there, request to be admitted, if you will. We'll definitely, we'd love to have you there. And so that's where we continue the conversation, and especially on today's podcast, I'd love to hear from you. So here's why. This is taking me a little time to get up the guts to share this. So I'm going to share it here, and I'm going to do it in a series of episodes. So the next few episodes are going to be on this topic because I've got a lot to say. 7 months ago, I separated from my husband, and so boom, there you go. There you go, Trish, it's over. So yeah, there we go. I separated from my husband 7 months ago. It's been a 31-year, not marriage, we've been married for 10 years, legally, but we've been together, traveling a journey together for 31 years, which is my entire adult life, basically. And that's a long time. It's a long time. Our journey will continue. As you guys know, he was my mentor starting out. Then he became my romantic partner, and then first we became kind of working partners, then my romantic partner, and ultimately my husband. And so our journey will continue together. I adore the man. Every good thing I've ever said about him remains to be true. He's truly a beautiful soul and my soulmate, and so we are committed to continuing this journey together, albeit in a different form. And our relationship has taken many forms over the years, obviously, and that's what makes it such a interesting journey, and also a hard one to separate. So the reason why I'm sharing this here is I don't know that I'll make a big announcement anywhere. Not that anyone really cares, okay? I get that I'm not really that big a deal. So I don't have delusions that, somehow this is going to make any kind of waves anywhere except in our lives. But because he is an important part of my work, because he's responsible for my even being in this space of sharing about emotional eating, is because of the amazing, it's because of the amazing help that he gave me. And all that I've learned from him. So he really is an amazing soul. And so what I'm going to be sharing in this podcast and moving forward, is so many lessons that I've learned. And it's hard to hold back on that. That's why I really wanted to come out and share this. I didn't feel comfortable in the first 6 months of our separation sharing this for obvious reasons, a very private, it's our lives, it's private. I wasn't sure how things were going to shake out. So I wanted to pass the 6-month mark before I did share publicly about it. And I'm sharing it here first because you guys are my tribe. I mean, you're, even though I talk and you listen, and once in a while you guys poke into the Secret Sauce group and share, and I hope you'll share more because I could use the support. But the point is, I'm mostly doing the talking here, but I feel close to you. Like I know, anywhere I go, people, I run into people who say, I've listened to your podcast, or thanks for your podcast, or thanks for your book. And because of that, I know you're there. I know you're there. I feel you. I feel your heart. You've said beautiful, wonderful, and really, really kind things to me, and that has touched my heart. And so because of that, I really wanted to share here first. And, I just feel like I'm extending my circle of girlfriends, when I share here, because that's how I consider you. You mean the world to me. So thank you for that. And thank you for popping into the Secret Sauce group to share on this post, after it goes live if you listen on iTunes. So, and currently if you're listening now, so thank you. And I actually see people watching and love you. So yeah, I wanted to share about this because there are so many lessons, and this is really, this is part of my journey, and this is part of my becoming more of my authentic self, and my healing from emotional eating. So much of our our troubles with food come from being out of alignment with ourselves. And I share about that. You guys have heard me share about that, and I'm just getting a little more personal about that here. This change in my relationship with Roy, it was motivated by me. I'm the one who instigated this. I'm the one who's asked for this. And it's really because of my personal journey. I am becoming day by day more authentically me, and that journey never stops. It never stops. So it's been happening for 31 years since I started my healing journey with Roy as my mentor initially. And, we cannot be free from emotional eating if we don't take this very important and deep journey. People who think they're just going to heal by going on a diet are so sorely mistaken, and I think they've learned that eventually. And if I can save you any time, if you're new on your weight loss journey, if I can save you any time, I will say, please, please, please don't make it about food. Your problem is not food. Your problem is not weight. Those are symptoms of what's going on inside of us. So, I've had an amazing relationship with Roy, and as I said, we've been on this incredible journey, and yet the time came when it started having diminishing returns for me. Amazingly supportive man, amazing supportive relationship, until it started to not be. Always supportive. He's a sweetheart, and if you've met him, you know that. And I have nothing negative to say about him. It's really the relationship with him and my relationship with myself that's changed, as I've grown, as I've learned, as I've stepped out into the world, as I founded Heal Your Hunger and started going my own path. He and I worked together for many years, 25, 27 years, and mostly my promoting his work, his amazing healing work. But there came a time when I needed to separate my work and start my own thing, and have my own message and something that was most aligned with me. So that was a big step for me. That happened about 3 years ago, that I started realizing, hey, I can't do the work that I've been doing with him. I need to do my own work. So to be honest, I didn't think our relationship would last that. Or last through that. I literally thought there's a good chance we'll separate over this, because our coming together was not about romance. It was obviously for different reasons. It was about healing, and first my healing myself, and then our helping other people heal. So that was, that was why we got together, and basically. I'm kind of distracted by all these birds. If you're not watching live on Facebook, you know that I'm in, you don't know, and I'm going to share with you that I'm in Seattle right now, which was where I met Roy, ironically. So this week I'm in Seattle, and I'm filming this overlooking the Lake Washington. It's so beautiful. I'm so happy to be here, and it really is divine timing that I'm here and that I happen to be sharing with this about my relationship with Roy here, because that's where it all started. That's where I met him. I believe I was destined to meet him. I think it was God's beautiful, beautiful love that enabled me to meet him and for him to help me, because, emotional eating is a hopeless condition. It's a hopeless condition, and pretty much most everything that's out there is missing the mark on how to heal from this. And so I was so blessed to meet him and to learn, what it takes to heal from emotional eating, which in my experience is by far the hardest addiction to overcome, bar none. Cocaine or heroin do not hold a candle to food. And, anybody who's lost somebody to cocaine or heroin addiction might, obviously beg to differ. And I don't mean to belittle any other addiction. All addictions are horrific, and they take people to horrific places. But, whether it's alcohol or pot or heroin or, any other addiction that you don't need to survive on, like food, you can put the plug in the jug, you can put it down, by God's grace, and then you don't have to pick it up again. Whereas food, if we're addicted, we have to figure out how to be able to eat, and not go overboard and not be addicted. So that is tricky stuff. And the reason why it's the hardest addiction to overcome, besides that, is also because we started so young. Emotional eating started, for me, I remember as far back as 3 years old, I was obsessed with food. Food was it for me. So, I think it's a very accessible addiction at a young age. And whenever we started stuffing, that's when we stopped feeling. That's when we stopped dealing and healing. So, most people, at least if they're drug addicts or alcoholics, they had some development, some emotional development, and maybe started at 12 or 13. So at least they grew up to 12 or 13. I stopped growing at 3. So I had no emotional development when I started eating, I started eating, and that stopped my development. So it's a hard addiction to overcome because we're so backwards emotionally, we're very underdeveloped, emotionally. So that makes it a hard addiction to overcome. So my point is that in order to overcome it, we have to go deeper than your average alcoholic. We have to go deeper than anybody who's overcoming an addiction that you can just put the plug in, and stop. And so the fact that we have to negotiate this relationship, or we have to take that tiger out of the cage every single day, pet the kitty, and put it back in the cage, makes it so much harder. And what it takes is much deeper work, okay? So if you're fighting food, if you're trying to stop, if you're trying to curb the cravings, if you're by hook or by crook trying to not eat, and you're white knuckling it, that is a hard way to go, and it will not last. I promise you. If you're white knuckling trying to stave off cravings, it ain't gonna work. You're in for a really painful journey, and I'm sure you know that and you've been on that already. And I did that for years as well. But the only way to not have those cravings, the only way to, really heal is to be healed of those cravings. Those cravings are symptoms. Food cravings, they don't just happen. They're symptoms of this turmoil that we have going on in our tummies, in our gut, and that churning, that emotional turmoil that we have and that we carry, that needs to be healed, and that's when the cravings will be healed. So where does that emotional turmoil come from? Well, you've heard me talk about the pain, the fear, and the guilt, the PEP formula. The reasons why we use food are for emotional reasons. If we use food abusively, obviously we all use food, we have to eat. But I'm talking about as emotional eaters, as somebody who overeats, overindulges, craves chocolate and sugar and carbs, can't possibly think of putting down carbs. That's for emotional reasons. And that's to kill that pain, that fear, and that guilt, to just put a blanket over it so we don't feel it. How do we heal the pain, the fear, and the guilt? Well, we got to go deeper. It is a deeper journey. And so more, all emotional eaters do not want to take that journey. Trust me, that's why we're eating. We're I don't want to feel, I don't want to deal, and I want to heal. I just want to not experience these feelings and have that be it. And that's impossible. So we have to take that deeper journey. And you don't have to do it through 20 years of therapy either. And there's a much easier, softer way, if you will. There's a faster way. Really a way to hack those feelings. But there's no getting around the fact that it is a personal journey. There's no getting around the fact that, it's not an easy journey. So the fact that I'm here talking to you today about my relationship with my husband is because I want to share with you that, my journey continues. My journey of self-revelation, my journey of, self-exploration, my journey of healing the underlying causes continues, and 31 years later, and hopefully that won't depress anybody. hopefully you'll find that hopeful. I don't find it depressing. I've accepted that, food is my teacher. Food is what has taught me to go within. Food is what has taught me to face my feelings when it's the last thing I wanted to do. I have to. I do not have a choice, okay? You either feel or you eat. If you're an emotional eater, that's what it comes down to. You either feel or you eat. You either deal and heal or you eat. It's very cut and dried. and when people are trying to not feel and not eat, it's a losing game, okay? So I was very afraid to separate from my husband, and I put it off for a long time, okay? So, and I love him, so it's not like everything was bad, things were, percentage-wise on the high end of good. But there were parts that were not good, and not good for me. We get along well, we're super supportive of each other, we love each other deeply, and yet there are parts that I was not, there are parts of me that needed addressing and needed to be fulfilled, and really I just couldn't find that in my relationship with my husband. And so I was afraid to separate, though, because I wasn't sure I could do it without eating. I was so afraid of the pain. I was so afraid of the torrent of emotions. I was so afraid that I wouldn't be able to handle it. And I was afraid he wouldn't be able to handle it because we're so, bonded, bonded and enmeshed. Let's be clear, 31 relationship of 2 emotional eaters. There's a lot of enmeshment there as well. So very complicated relationship because we've gone through so many iterations of the relationship. So I didn't think I could handle it, guys. I just thought it would fall apart. And there were times when I'd think about doing this and I felt like I was going to fall apart. And so I'd stop. I'd be like, okay, nope, not going to go. Nope, we're not going to do that. We're going to figure this out, And I did many things to try to make my relationship work, many things. And anybody who knows me knows I tried living separately. I tried, starting my own business, so I could have that. I tried many things, okay? Many things. But ultimately they didn't, I had to face it anyway. So I had to face what I had to do. And so I didn't think I could do it without overeating. And I just want to share with you that God is so good. God is so good and so loving and kind and compassionate, and God made it work for me. Because this was a desire of my heart, because it's something I truly needed in my life, in order to grow and continue to change. I think when God knew I was serious, when God knew it wasn't just a escape or some, flight of fancy, I think God felt my heart, and really made it easy for me. So what I was so afraid to do, what I didn't think I could handle, what I thought would kill me to do, or kill Roy, I was able to do. And I'm so grateful for that. And it has not been so terrible as I thought it would be. We always imagine the worst. It's not been easy. It's been one of the hardest things in my life, and I'll share on another episode soon about the 2 hardest decisions of my life, of which this is one. But I've survived it by God's loving grace and the help of a whole lot of people, amazing girlfriends. I have amazing girlfriends, and I'm going to share about that in a future episode as well, because I don't think I would have been able to do that. So amazing girlfriends and friends, male friends as well. Some really key, people in my life who have given me counsel, which has been super wonderful, and couldn't have done it without them. But I'm just here to say that, I've survived it. It ain't over. I'm going through it still, but I didn't have to hurt myself with food. I didn't have to hurt myself with food. Roy hasn't had to hurt himself with food. We've supported each other through this. We've each reached out to our own networks, which I think has been really good for both of us. He's grown in a lot of ways through this. And so good has come from it. It's been really super hard, but good has come from it. And I'm so grateful for that. And I think I'm going to stop that now. I'm going to stop the episode here, because what I want to do in future episodes is talk about the different ways I've grown through this. So many lessons. That's really why I wanted to come out and share this, because I am very transparent on my shows, as you know. I share everything, and I didn't want there to be a portion of my life that I couldn't share, especially because this is so powerful, and so many lessons and growth lessons and things that are directly related to overcoming emotional eating, because it's all about my healing journey, and that's what I want for you guys, and that's what I want to support you in. anybody who are clients of mine know that that's where we go. That's where we go is deeper and healing deeper, and it works. It really works. The self-care, the self-introspection, the support, the mutual support that we give each other in my programs really does do the trick in terms of overcoming emotional eating. So really grateful for you for tuning in and listening, and I invite you to come to the Secret Sauce group and comment. I'm going to be honest, I could use the support, and certainly Roy and I could use your prayers. We definitely could use your prayers. So thank you for keeping us in your prayers, and definitely throw in some extra ones for Roy, because this has been a big transition for him, and he's going through it with ease and grace. I mean, not ease, that's not true. It's not been easy. It's been really, really, really hard. But he has reached deep into his own toolkit of spiritual tools that he could use to overcome the pain and to go through the pain without going dark, So I love him for that. He continues to inspire me, and, he's just an amazing man. So thank you all so much for listening. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching here live, and to be continued, okay, with many good, juicy insights and lessons that I can't wait to share with you. So love you so much, and take good care.
If you enjoyed this podcast and want to get free support, insider health info, exclusive invites to events, and more, visit healyourhunger.com.